All right, just kind of give you an injury report, reminder, and then, y'all can, because these guys will be out for the year, so I won't hit those. And then anytime there's somebody in the week that we know 100%'s out, then we'll put that up here. But Bryce Robinson, Trevon McAlpin, Cam Cantrell, and Matt Young are out for the year, and so don't expect them back with their injuries. Guys this week that we know will not play are Cam Watts. He's still a couple weeks away. Derek Lewis, feel really good about him. Should be back possibly by North Carolina State. And Gabe, those are the three guys that will not play this week. I've got a couple of other guys. Jordan Brown, we'll know at the end of this week where he's at. He's got an ankle. And then Cole Spencer, decision again on August 31st this week. Everybody else we expect to play, which is we're in really good spot when it comes to health whenever you say that, because we had a really physical camp, and for just having those guys out, it's big for us. It says a lot about Drew and his staff. It has a lot about Lance and his staff of what kind of shape we're in, and then, of course, with Hannah and dietitian. So those are the guys that will be out. It's going to be a great game. You've got two teams that are led by defensive coaches. Coach Hood does a great job. You can see their turnaround in 2020, one of the biggest turnarounds in college football. The last two nights I've watched them play Cincinnati. Should have been up at halftime against a team that played in the Final Four. Missed a kick right at the end of half. They would have been up 10-7 against Cincinnati at Cincinnati, and then played Bowling Green really tough. So saying that, they're not going to come in here and being intimidated by us. So we're going to have to do a great job of being the best team at 7 p.m. In that stadium. Two teams that are very effort-based. Usually get that with defensive coaches, head coaches, and watching them, that's one thing that we're going to talk to our guys about, who's going to play harder the longest. And so excited about playing a team like that because y'all know I've said from the day I've gotten here how hard we're going to play as a team. So it's good to play a team like that. They've got a quarterback coming back that's very athletic, so we're going to have to really be responsible whenever it comes to the zone read and making sure that we're putting the ball in the guy's hands that we want it to be in. Tough thing is they've got a veteran running back in Weatherspoon that's coming back that's a really good football player. They returned 5 or 6 on offense and 5 or 6 on defense. So this is a veteran squad that's going to come in and give us a really good game week 1. So, again, excited about playing these guys. With that, I'll open it up for questions and kind of go from there.
You just mentioned a lot of individuals on the offensive side of the ball for Murray State, but with how good they are on defense, is there anyone that keeps coming up on tape that you guys are going to have to look out for?
I think as a whole, they're young. They're young when it comes to the offensive line. Defensive line experience-wise, but they have some linebackers that have played a lot of football. Number 34 in particular keeps showing up on tape. They've got a safety or corner that's playing safety. He's played both. That's a really good football player. The one thing about Coach Hood, I don't know him personally, Coach DeRuiter. They kind of come from the same Coach Grobe. You've got a defensive coach. He coached for Coach Stoops at Kentucky. So I expect them to play really hard and really sound when it comes to the defensive side of the ball.
A good amount of fumbles last year, too.
Yeah.
How much have you guys been emphasizing ball security against the Racers?
Yeah, it's every day. That's what we start with. We actually start with ball security and takeaway every single day. If you come in there when we come out, that's where you're going to hear the purge and the sirens going off, and our guys hear the same, song every single day for both sides, ball security and takeaway. And probably when y'all have come to individual, you've heard me say that the most whenever I'm on the offensive side of the ball. We want to protect the football and cause turnovers, and I know those guys do too. And so it's going to be good. It's going to be good to play a team like that emphasizes that so much.
Hey, Coach, you've done all this work. Give us your thoughts now as it's in the game week, how you feeling, and getting ready to make your debut as the Red Raider head coach.
Well, first of all, great job last night, both of y'all, man. Y'all crushed it on TV. My lovely wife, who's in the back, she was saying I'm never doing that again, but I thought she did a great job. So there's a chance, when y'all ask, she'll be on TV again. Y'all just let me know. Even though she's going to say no, we'll get her on there. Excited. I mean, it's like one of the deals. Kirby was talking about it earlier the last couple of days of like November 9th. It seems like it was just yesterday, but it was also a drawn-out process of going through spring ball and going through your first camp, learning each other as a coaching staff and a strength staff. But I'm really excited, it's one of those deals that I hadn't been a head coach in front of a team going out on game day in the last 5 years. And so, I really do believe that, God put me on this earth to do that. And so I'm really excited to give that pregame speech and lead those guys down the tunnel. It's going to be incredible.
Coach, you've been talking to Red Raider fans on social media. What do you want to say to them that we can get out to get the fans ready for Saturday?
I will tell you this. Our guys have worked their tails off, and I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but I'm going to say it this way. They deserve for the fans to be in the stands. They did it for basketball, and they make an impact. They do it for baseball, and they make an impact. And I'm telling you, our guys have worked hard enough to get the same. And, I hope everybody shows up. All I've heard all my life, I've been a part of it twice, but it's been a long time. It was like 1990. But all I've heard all my life is how hard it is to play in Jones AT&T with a 7 o'clock kick. And, why not start the year off right by having everybody there at a 7 o'clock kick and having these guys' backs?
What are the challenges of heading into a week one opponent where you have to rely on game film from a year ago where they might have changed schemes over the offseason on offense and defense?
I think more and more it's become even more of a challenge because of the transfer portal and different people losing different players and then guys picking up different players. So I think it's, we've done a lot of research. Coach Hamby, Monday is our personnel day to where our guys come in and start looking at the personnel and watching film. And we've had to, go and grab different people's films because you got different transfers. I'm sure they're doing the same thing whenever it comes to some of our guys and who's going to play on Saturday. So it's tough. But, coaches, we're creatures of habit. And we're going to do what we know and what we know is successful. So, I'm expecting them to play with great effort, but still be in the scheme that really caused some problems for different teams last year. It helps us a little bit. The one thing about our staff is Josh Cochran and Kirk Bryant actually played them last year whenever they were at Austin Peay. And so just the familiarity of being in that conference helps us a little bit going into this game.
Hey, Coach, the offensive line has been a big focal point all offseason.
Right.
Now that it's game week, do you feel like it's ready to go for the season, and where does it need to improve still?
We're ready to go, but it's going to also be, I think, a real battle. We're planning on playing probably between 7 and 8 offensive linemen in this game for a couple of reasons. One, we want to see what these guys do, of course, in a game. But there's still some position battles. That right tackle is a real battle with Ty coming back. He had a great week last week. Monroe has made a huge stride in his pass blocking this last week, so I'm really excited about that. And, again, I just continue to challenge Hamby, like, are these our best 5 guys? Whenever you have a room that you really are too deep and you have a guy like Jacoby Jackson who had a great camp, is he better playing – does he make us better playing right guard instead of backing up Weston at left guard? It's just one of those deals that's going to be a couple weeks like that to really see where we're at. Because, I've said it since the day I've got here. I mean, if you're going to win at a high level, you're going to win at a high level because you're O-line and D-line. And, that's something that we're going to continue to stress. I do think we are light years ahead of where we were in the spring.
And then a couple of freshmen showed up on the depth chart on offense, and Coy and Bryson. What do they bring, and how much do you expect them to play?
I think, both of them. I mean, I talked to both of them. I talked to all my freshmen the other day about, making sure they understand that you can still play in 4 games in redshirt. But talking to both of those guys, I told them that, there's a chance that might not happen just because of their skill set. Bryson, he moves up the depth chart because of Cameron. I didn't have him on there. I should have had him on there. That he's not playing this week. Cameron Valdez, sorry about that. But I think he moves up. So he's still going to be in good shape that if we have to redshirt him, we can, because Cameron should be back, by North Carolina State for sure. We feel like by Texas. Coy brings a lot to the table. This is a kid that led the nation for whatever reason, was an under-recruited kid, but led the nation in receiving yards and catches, and he brings a lot to the table when it comes to wide receiver, but he also brings a ton to the table in the return game. I feel good about our returners, but, throwing him back there, he's just natural at it. He's a big body, and so I would expect him, to possibly play in 4 games in redshirt, but if he does what he's been doing in practice, then there's a chance he doesn't redshirt at all. It's one of those deals. It's like they understand this. They came here to win, and they came here to play really good football, and they know they can help us do that.
Coach, kind of bouncing off of Jared's question there. With the offensive lineman and the quarterback situation, you did mention that all 3 quarterbacks will get playing time this weekend. How has the chemistry been with the O-line and all 3 quarterbacks so far?
Really good because, and it really helps that they're very similar, where they're dual threat guys that can really prolong plays with their feet. They can move in the pocket. And so it helps the O-line that they're all 3 the same. And it also helps Kitley, because Kitley doesn't have to change the way he's going to call the offense no matter who's in there. Now, the one thing about this week, it will be packages for the other 2 guys whenever they come in. We'll have a really distinct way we're going to use them. But it really helps the O-line that they're all the same. They know, they're going to step up and get the ball out, but they're also going to be able to run the ball. So in the run game and, in the passing game, it helps that they're the same. If we had a guy that was just a prototypical, statue pro quarterback back there versus a dual threat guy, it would be totally different. But this way, they're used to all 3 of them, and they're all similar.
Position battles that were going on throughout camp now that you kind of, I guess in a way, named a starter for certain positions, or anything that we didn't know?
No, we feel good. I think Matt's giving you a depth chart. If you hadn't, we'll make sure you get it. But I think we're good, where we're going. I mean, I will tell you that, like in the D-line, Jay Boog is kind of the leader in that group. But we got 5 guys that, we're going to roll with, that it doesn't really matter, who's in the game. They're going to be able to, really play hard and play a certain number of snaps versus having to play 70 and 80 snap. That's going to make a big difference. And we've been able to create some depth in the outside linebackers. So excited about those guys, excited to put that defense on the field. I think that's one thing that is you're really going to see. I think you probably saw it in the Liberty Bowl, but I think you're going to see even more as it grows. Guys are really understanding their role and being able to play really fast and really hard on this defense.
Go to Brandon and Chuck and Don.
A couple questions. With Cam Valdez, what exactly is he dealing with?
It's his knee. It's not a surgical deal. He's got a strain, and he's just not. He's running, but we're not ready to put him in a game yet.
Talking depth chart, kicking-wise, Trey Wolf and Gino plan on just splitting reps with them first game, or kind of hoping to see somebody break out this week?
They both have had great springs and great camps. I mean, we feel good about – I think it's going to be a feel. Trey's the guy that's going to be kicking off. I feel like he'll probably go out there, right off the bat, kicking the first one. But it's kind of one of those deals with those 2 guys. Whoever Kenny feels like warm up the best, ready to go. And the other guy, he'll be ready to go too. I mean, we're going to use both of them.
Coach, with a defined play caller on offense and then with Coach DeRuiter on defense, have you thought about your role on game day and how that matches up and what it is that you'll kind of specifically do during the game?
Well, that's the interesting thing for Saturday, because I have not been on the sideline with these guys. So the biggest change for them, I think the two things is, one, they're not continually calling. So what I mean by that is when you're scrimmaging, you've got an offense and a defense out there continuously. So there's never a time that they're taking a step back and adjusting. You know, they're kind of adjusting on the move, so they're never have been able to where they sit down and, you know, make the adjustments. I don't believe the hay's ever in the barn. We are going to adjust from the time we kick off all the way through the game. With me managing the game, you know, I'll, again, probably lean a lot more on the defensive side of the ball whenever it comes into the game. But, you know, that's one thing through spring and through camp, I've spent more time probably with the offensive side of the ball, becoming more familiar with what we do on that side of the ball just because of my defensive background. But more of the game manager, making sure our guys are ready to play, you know, holding them accountable of how hard they're playing, and then substitution-wise of helping make sure we got the right guys in. But that's going to be a different dynamic that not only the coaches but the players have not seen, because I've been more of the administrator whenever it comes to our scrimmages. So I think it's going to bring even more energy to the sideline. I don't know if y'all believe that or not, that I'm kind of an energetic guy, but I do think that's going to add even more of how hard we play on Saturday.
And then finally for me, can you describe what a package might look like differently for Barron than maybe what Shuck or even for Donovan?
You know, the one good thing about all three, they'll have the grasp of the offense. You know, whenever we go with our two offense, Barron and Donovan are both getting reps and everything. But, you know, I think it's one of those deals that you're going to see Donovan in certain red zone situations. I mean, he's one of the guys. Shuck said the other day, he goes, "Coach, you know I can run the football." And I said, "I know you can." And he's going to. But I think you'll see Donovan come in some red zone situations. I think with Barron, it could be a change of pace, really moving the pocket with him, because the one thing that Barron, you said it last night, one thing that Barron does well is he's probably the best. All three of them do, but he's one of the best throwing on the move. He's got a really live arm, and so there's going to be some stuff like that where we can move the pocket with him. You know, but my plan is to get them all three in the game, and, you know, and not to where it's at the end of the game or anything like that. And I know they're excited about that. And the one thing that will just keep evolving is their package and how we're going to use them at different times. And, you know, we got some surprises for a lot of people whenever it comes to those three quarterbacks.
Joey, the last 5 years, were you on the sideline or in the press box?
Man, I was on the sideline until this year, and we got beat by Oklahoma State. And, well, actually going into that game, it's a regular season game against Oklahoma State, was the first time in my career that I'd been in the press box. And so Coach felt like that he needed some older eyes in the box, and so he asked for volunteers. And, you know, I didn't like being up there, but all I want to do is win when it comes to the kids have heard that. You know, I tell them all the time I love them. I tell them all the time that they came here to get a great education. But the one thing about me, when that ball's kicked, all I care about is winning. You know, I don't care who's in there. I don't care what your last name is. But when that ball's kicked for 4 quarters, my job is to win football games. And so been in the press box for about 3 or 4 games, and, man, it wasn't very fun. I was like a caged animal up there. Sean Bell, actually, I threw my headset, and he goes, "I don't know if I've ever seen anybody throw their headset in the press box." So, you know, something like that, it was tough. I'm glad to be back on the sideline.
So this is your first game as head coach in college. What do you remember about your first game as head coach in high school or period?
Oh, yeah, we played the Colony at home. And, you know, it was ended up winning the game, ended up winning it, you know, pretty handily. But nervous is, you know, I'm nervous anyway on game day. You know, just excited, but I'll never forget the feeling of really, you know, that your feet are where you're at and this is where you're supposed to be, feeling of like, you know, every one of y'all probably have this feeling of like, you were put on this earth to do this, you know, and man, I really believe that, you know, and I remember that feeling of like, almost like, God, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so I know I'm going to have that same feeling on Saturday and can't wait.
Who has gotten the number 3? Have you decided that yet?
Yeah, we're going to announce it. I do know who's going to get it. We're going to announce it 3 days before kick, just because of like doing it like that. I think it's going to be great to honor, you know, Luke and his family, and talking to his dad. You know, he and I were texting last night. He was asking me, and I feel like we have a good plan to do it, and it's kind of a good story because it didn't turn out the way I thought it. You know, as a bet man, I would not have bet that this is the way it was going to go, but it's really, I think it's going to be a cool story.
So y'all did take a vote, right, or not?
We are going to.
Yeah. Okay. A couple other personnel questions. How's Taj moving in the last few days?
Good, really good. Had a great day yesterday. Yesterday was our kind of to run out any kind of soreness from the mock game, and he looked really good. He ran this morning with Drew and his staff, so we feel really good where he's at.
The same thing on Josiah, Pierre, and Mason Thorpe with time that they missed. How are they looking?
Yeah, really good. Mason had a really good week. You know, I think he was in the yellow jersey on Tuesday and was full go on Wednesday. It was great to get him back. Josiah's man looked really good. I mean, he's one of the guys that really sets a tone physicality wise. You know, and playing good defense, we always talk about setting edges. That's the one thing that he does as well as anybody that I've been around is setting edges. And so I'm excited to see him play and really turn it loose.
Any other questions?
Hey, you had Joseph Plum is on the 2D.
Yeah.
I know you've talked about him before, but just his progress.
He's a tackling machine, man. I mean, like, if you go back and, I mean, just look, y'all can check out the spring game. I mean, he probably led the team in tackles. He's a coach's kid. He's going to be a coach whenever this is all said and done. Really high IQ. And the one thing about those positions at safety, we do a lot of stuff. And so they've got to be able to get us lined up and be vocal and, you know, be sure of themselves. And that's one thing that Plunk is, you know. I joke, I don't think he got it from his daddy. I think he got it from his mama. And, you know, I'm excited about him. I mean, from day one, just excited about guys like him and Drew Holcutt coming and Hayden Wigington, you know, coaches' kids that get how important it is to win football games, change your culture really quick. All right. I think Gio's up next, right? Hey, it's game week. It's good to see y'all. You bet.